Hey, this is Philip from Steveston Motor Co. and today we're going to show you how to service and adjust the rear brakes on a Classic Mini. Alright, so we've got the rear swing arms off the car, and it's just a nice easy way to show everybody exactly how to service the rear brakes. Now the rear brakes on a Mini are drum brake design, and that's throughout all years from the start to the end of their production. They're pretty simple, but there's a couple of key things that you need to know in order to assemble them correctly. So we've got all the parts for the rear brake laid out right here. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to it, and we'll explain exactly what these individual parts are. So you've got two shoes right here, and they are identical. However, their orientation varies depending on the car, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Secondly, you've got two springs. You'll notice that these are different. You then have this piece here, which connects to the e-brake, moves this way, spreads the shoes open for the emergency brake. And then finally, you've got the adjuster, which consists of this cone-shaped screw here and these two pieces which ride against it. Now let's show you how they all go into the car. Now when you're reassembling brakes, it's important to use some sort of anti-seize on all the moving components. We like to use this Permatex copper anti-seize, and I'll show you exactly where you put it. So first of all, on the actual shoes themselves, on the top and bottom of the shoe, you're going to want to put a little dab of anti-seize here. There's also the e-brake bracket here. This retains the bottom portion of the shoe, so you're going to want to put some anti-seize both on the front and back of that. And then you have the adjuster. Now I always like to completely remove the adjuster. It threads out towards the outside of the car. This just makes sure that it's totally free to move, because having a seized adjuster means you won't be able to properly adjust the shoes. This will definitely totally ruin the whole point of doing the rear brakes. So with this removed and cleaned, you can put some anti-seize on the top, and you can also put some anti-seize on the little brackets here that slide in from the side. Now that we've applied the anti-seize in all of the correct locations, we can get ready to put in the springs and the shoes. Now you'll notice that the kits come with two of the exact same shoe. The way that these are oriented is very important, and we'll show you that in a second. You'll notice on the shoe here that the brake pad material only comes up to a certain portion, and there's a large area here where there's just bare metal, and on this side there isn't. It goes almost right to the end. This is called the leading edge of the shoe, and this is the trailing edge of the shoe. Now the way that these go onto the car is that the leading edge always goes towards where the drum meets it first. So if it's rotating this direction, it'll be this side, leading edge, as it hits the shoe. It comes off and trails off the back. By contrast, for the shoe that is on the back portion here, because it's rotating this direction, the drum will hit this side first, making the leading edge on the bottom. So you want that portion that has the large metal flat area here to be on the bottom. Now this is important because the shoes can be put on the wrong direction and they'll still fit onto the car, but your brakes will not behave anywhere near how they're supposed to. So it's very important you have leading, trailing edge in the correct orientation depending on the side of the car that they're on. Also notice that there's the two springs. The spring that has the spring portion in the center goes on the top, and this is nearest to the adjuster. And the spring portion, the spring that has the spring portions on the outside goes at the bottom, and then this is nearest to the wheel cylinder. Now with this particular spring, you'll notice if I look at it from the side here, that this connection piece in the middle is not centered with the spring. It's actually offset this way or this way, you see. Now it's important that this orientation is that this piece here is at the bottom. The reason for this is if you install it this way, and it will go on that way, is that this portion right here will touch the hub and eventually wear through and break the spring. So it has to be installed on the bottom with this facing towards the bottom of the car. To install these shoes, you don't need any special tools or anything. I like to do it just by hand. What I'll do is I'll take a look, and in this particular case, this is the left rear. So I know that the wheel will be rotating this direction. So I'll orient these correctly so that this is that direction, this is that direction. So I have that in my mind. And then I'll take the bottom spring and orient this correctly. So that one is at the bottom, this one here, and this one here. Like that. And now the spring is on the back side of the shoe. So if you're looking at it, it'll look like that. You don't install the spring, so it's on the front side, like this. So with it installed just on one half, holding it with my hand, you can then go and install it onto the wheel assembly. So let's show you how we put on these shoes. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the shoes are oriented correctly. Making sure the leading edge, trailing edge. Then you want to take the bottom spring, again making sure that this is oriented correctly with that center portion facing down. And from the back side of the shoe, attach it through here and just hold it with your hand. And then you're going to put the front portion of the shoe here, or the spring, sorry, right through the hole in between the hub and the e-brake assembly. Just passing it through there until it pokes out. And then you can take the other shoe and attach the spring through the little slit, like that. And then you can just slip the e-brake bracket through the shoe here, and same on this side. Then you just want to make sure that the bottom portion of the shoe is in the slot of the wheel cylinder. So it is right there. And we can do the top spring. So to assemble that, I put these loosely in place next to the adjuster. You can then pry one at a time out, and again, putting the spring from the back side of the shoe, slip it through there, hold it with your hand, flip the other side out, slipping the other side, and then pulling apart one side at a time, slip it into the adjuster. You just want to make sure that everything is sitting correctly, which it is, and they're installed. Easy as that. So now that we've got the shoes, the springs, the adjuster in, and we've made sure that everything is sitting in its correct location, nothing's binding, it's all correctly oriented, we can put the drum on. Now you'll see that on the hub here, there is a threaded portion, one hole right here. You'll see on the drum that there are two threaded holes. Just want to make sure that one of these lines up with this one here. Now it's worth noting that I also have the adjuster backed out fully, and this makes it as small as possible and as easy as possible to be able to put the drum on. So just line them up with the wheel studs, and it should slip right on. Like that. And then you can just thread in the screw here and tighten up that screw. Now the tool that we use to tighten this screw, you may not have seen before. It's called an impact screwdriver. And what it does is when you hit it with a hammer on the back, this portion here rotates. So not only does it push in the screw, but it also turns it, and this just stops you from stripping the end of the screw. Put that in, rotate it, bit of a whack with the hammer. Alright, that's it, and it's installed. So now we can go ahead and with a 5/16 wrench from the back side on the adjuster, you want to tighten the adjuster slowly, quarter turn at a time, while spinning it in the forwards direction. Now because this one is backed out quite a ways, it'll take a bit before it starts to get tight. Keep spinning it. By spinning it, this allows the shoes to self sort of level. You can feel it start to get tight. And then what you're looking for is a drag on the shoe. Now, usually on most cars you adjust them till they're at about this point, so it's just a light touch. However, on the Mini, if you're adjusting them to this point, the brakes will work very inefficiently. You need to have them almost what feels like too tight. And that's about it there. So the rule is kind of, you want to be able to easily turn it by hand, but it shouldn't be able to free spin at all. It should be very tight, just like this. And once you have it like this, you can then bleed the brakes and they should be adjusted perfectly. Usually with these, if you end up tightening it one too many, as I'll do right now to show, that's one more, it's frozen. I can't even turn that by hand. So another good way is to tighten them all the way until you can't rotate it by hand, and then tighten it one notch back. That, and there you go. And that's what you want it. You want it just as tight as it'll go before binding up. And if you don't have it set this tight, if you have it set looser where you just hear it but you can freewheel it, your brake pedal travel will be really far, and your rear brakes just won't work anywhere near what they're supposed to work like. Kind of cool to know that on the later cars, the ones that have disc brakes in the front as opposed to the drum brake front brake cars, they actually have on the rear drum a built-in spacer right here. So you'll see that the drum comes out here and has this thick portion here. On the earlier cars, it just goes flush right here. And that's because the disc brakes push the front wheels out by about an inch in the front. So when they started to equip the previously drum brake fronted Minis with discs, they had to build in this 1-inch spacer into the drum so that the track width stayed the same front and rear. Kind of a neat tidbit. There you go, all done. As you can see, it's pretty easy to do. You'll be amazed at the difference that fresh shoes with the proper adjustment can do for the rear brakes of your car. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like our videos, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out.